What's up, forum? It's Gorilla Hands, and today I'm going to be talking about the latest trailer released by DICE that showcases some of the single-player gameplay for Battlefield 3. If you guys remember in the previous trailer, one of your squad mates is down by an enemy sniper, and now your team is moving up to the rooftop to try to take him out. Also, you guys might remember at the end of the previous trailer, a car is hit by an RPG next to you, and that's how it ends. I'm assuming the character in this trailer is the same protagonist from the previous trailer. Somehow he survived. I guess we won't go into the details on how he survived that explosion. I'll just assume he was wearing a lot of Kevlar.
Be careful out there.
And we're going to freeze this frame right here just because I wanted to showcase the environmental settings of the single player. In order for a single-player campaign in a first-person shooter to really resonate with me or to leave kind of a lasting effect, it needs to have an immersive feel. And a good way to do that is with strong environmental settings. If I'm ever playing a single-player level and I can kind of differentiate between the playable area and the unplayable area because maybe everything in the immediate vicinity is using a high-quality texture, and then everything in the distance is using kind of a low-res, low-quality texture, then it takes me, I lose that sense of being a part of something bigger. I can tell, okay, well, I'm in this really small fraction of this world, of this scripted path that I need to follow. And it takes me out of it. I don't have that immersive feel anymore. But looking out on the scene, I mean, one, because when you step out, you get, the bright light in your eyes, so your eyes have to adjust real quickly. But looking out onto this, I feel like I could go to any portion of what I'm seeing, and it would be part of the playable level. Honestly, I haven't been too interested in the single-player portion of Battlefield 3, but it does look like they're putting a lot of time and effort into doing a good job.
Contact!
And right here we get our first instance of the destructible environment in Battlefield 3. So why don't we look at that scene over again in slow motion and see what exactly is happening. So the team just made contact with the enemy sniper, and a couple of things I take away from this scene is, one, they did a really good job with the particle effects, with the leaves from the flower pot being thrown in different directions and bits and pieces of the concrete blowing away from the wall. And the other thing I noticed is the overall amount of destruction in this scene is actually pretty minimal. If you compared it to Bad Company 2, the smallest amount of destruction you could ever inflict on a building was still relatively large, but here it's just really the top part of a concrete wall. So it looks like the granularity of destruction in this game is much higher than when you compare it with Bad Company 2 and Bad Company 1. And finally, if you watch the scene in super slow motion, you can tell how they implemented the destruction, and they did a little state change. So they went from the normal texture to the damage texture. There isn't a segue in between. And the reason for that is it's kind of a waste of resources. You don't really want to simulate all the process of being, normal to partially destroyed to fully destroyed. It happens in a blink of an eye, and user is not going to notice it.
Anyone got eyes on? I can't see him! Dude, that's a fucking 50! Stay low! Stay low! Slow down!
And a lot of people have been commenting saying that the point of this trailer is just to serve as a teaser to showcase the destructible capabilities of the Battlefield 3 engine. And by and large, yeah, I think that's true, but I also think it shows the use of the Ant animation technology, which DICE is borrowing from other EA sports games. So in this next coming scene, just kind of pay attention to how they move in and out of cover. For me, I'm pretty pleased with the animations. There are a couple hiccups in between the animation sets, but keep in mind this is pre-alpha software.
I think. Let's go. Cover to cover. We'll draw them out. Ready. Moving. Moving. Going. Go.
Want to know how to tell that the software is still in the pre-alpha stage? Pay attention to their feet and how it interacts with the concrete. Either that rooftop is extremely muddy, or they're using a concrete texture and the underlying material object is supposed to interact like mud or dirt. It's not really an issue, I just thought it was kind of funny that that was happening.
Going.
It's a good thing for these guys that that sniper is a horrible shot.
Get down to the edge, stick his head out, and then we fucking shoot him. Rush it!
I'm not an expert on guns, but that looks like it's the M240 machine gun. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But in previous Battlefield games, at least in Battlefield 2, the light machine gun was associated with the support class. They changed that for the Bad Company series, recently Bad Company 2, the medic has the light machine gun. So I would imagine, since there's only going to be 4 classes in Battlefield 3, they'll probably continue with that, and the medic will be using the light machine gun.
Hug the wall. Black. Wait for us to get into position. Don't bunch up. Keep moving.
And right here we get a chance to see the prone position brought back from Battlefield 2. It was taken out of the Bad Company series because the developers at DICE thought it would slow down the pacing of the game too much, but they made some adjustments and changes, and they feel like that's not going to be a problem for Battlefield 3. And real quickly, if you look at the top of the wall, you'll notice that there's 2 chunks missing, and even though they essentially receive the same amount of damage, they don't look exactly the same. And I'm curious to see how much variety the Destructible engine can portray whenever objects are damaged. I certainly think if there's a lot of variance in how the objects are displayed, it could add to the experience of the overall game.
There's the sniper! Okay. Across...
And throughout this trailer, every time a bullet came relatively close to your character, the screen developed that little fog that you're seeing right here. And there's some speculation that maybe you can do suppressive fire in this game, so you don't necessarily have to shoot directly at your target. If you shoot around them, you can kind of create that fog and pin them down. So I don't know if that's restricted to single player, maybe it's only showcased in the scene, maybe it depends on the size of the weapon the enemy's using, but it would make for a pretty interesting game mechanic if they did bring that over to multiplayer.
50 meters midway up. He's dug into a spider hole. I got AT. Give it to Black. Shit, cover's getting ropey.
And right here we see the AT-4 single-shot rocket launcher, and I imagine if there's an engineering class returning to Battlefield 3, this would most likely be one of the weapons he would use to combat tanks, but it also apparently can be used to pick off snipers.
You're the best shot! I'll cover you, and you hit him. Clear your back blast. Stand by! 3, 2, 1, suppress it!
Yes, I know, I paused it during the most climactic scene of this trailer, but many of you guys may remember that this scene was shown in the original teaser gameplay trailer a couple of weeks ago. Why don't we go back and take a look at that original scene? It's the exact same scene, right? Well, why don't you watch the latest trailer and see if you can notice any differences. And let's look at the old trailer in slow motion. Could you guys spot the big difference between these two scenes? If you can't, let me give you a clue. If you look at the Arabic lettering over the word hotel, you'll notice that it's changed from the original trailer and the latest iteration, and the story behind that is apparently a couple people that could speak Arabic noticed that it was spelled incorrectly in the original trailer, and they let the guys over at DICE know about it, and they changed it since then. So it's nice to see that the guys over at DICE are committed to a high level of authenticity when creating this single-player campaign. Of course, this is their flagship trailer, so I imagine they wouldn't want to leave that air whenever they're presenting it. But enough about authenticity, you guys want to see stuff explode. One more time in slow motion. Well, that's the end of the trailer. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see the full effects of the destruction on that hotel building. Hopefully we can see it in part 3 that's going to be released at the end of this month. Let me know what you guys think of this trailer and the game so far, and as always, take it easy.